You can retire without having to take Social Security right away. Did you know that? I'm going to share with you this article real quick, but I get a lot of people who think they have to take Social Security once they retire. That's simply not true. And I'm going to share with this article that makes the same. It's a mistake, man. It's not good because it leads a lot of people to say I can't retire until I decide to take Social Security. That's simply not true. So let's go into this. Um, It's a squared away blog from the Centers for Retirement Research up at Boston College, and I like Boston College Center for CRR. Alicia Munnell's up there, a couple other folks I follow. I have a love, not hate relationship, a love skeptical relationship, if that makes sense with these people, because I think they write more good stuff than bad, but some of the stuff that they, how come I can't make that bigger? Some of the stuff they write, I'm like, ugh. No, whatever, I can't make it bigger. All right, so here's a happy guy who's getting ready to retire. March 11, 2021 is the dateline. Retirement ages geared towards life expectancy, says it. How come I can't make this bigger, man? All right, let me see what I got to do here. Shift. No. Nope. Okay. There we go. All right. All right, for the most of the 20th century, life expectancy was on the rise. It's not anymore, by the way. And it's not just because of COVID. It's just not. Yet older Americans were retiring at younger and younger ages. That changed in the 90s. Life expectancies continued to rise, but retirement ages started increasing as well. Many significant developments are behind the dramatic shift in retirement habits, include the decline of public sector pensions. Really? So let's think about this. The decline of public sector pensions left more people to retire later? That's simply silly, man. I guarantee you, if you look back at the 1950s, there was nobody retiring at 55 who had a private sector pension. I guarantee. Come on. Stupid. You know how those old pensions were designed, don't you? They're designed to say, hey, it's like the old Kaiser Social Security program for which the U.S. is based on, the old German. Yeah, we'll let you retire at 65, but most people died at 62. So it's like free money for the Kaiser. Changing attitudes about working women and bigger financial incentives from Social Security for people who remain in the labor force in order to get a larger monthly check when they retire. You hear that? Let me read that again. You have bigger financial incentives from Social Security for people who remain in the labor force in order to get a larger monthly check when they retire. Are you putting these two things together? Thus, you want a bigger Social Security check? Remain in the labor force and you can get one. Huh. Are those two things, thus, are this mutually exclusive to say if I leave the labor force earlier, I get a lower monthly check? No, not necessarily. It might be, but not likely if you're looking at being 60 versus 65 versus 70. Not likely to get a lower monthly check if you leave the labor force before you take Social Security. All right, I cannot stress this enough. I just want to be clear. If I am 60 years old today and I'm just tired of my crappy old job, it's put on 15, 20 pounds, I'm smoking 2 packs of Cools a day, I'm drinking like a freaking drunken infantryman, my life is probably not long lasting, that's for sure. All right, so I say, I got to get the hell out of Dodge. I'm quitting. Obviously I can't take Social Security, but I don't have to take it at 62. I don't have to take it at 67. I can wait till 70. Now, whether or not you're financially ready to do that's a different story. But because I got out of the labor force does not inherently mean I have a lower Social Security check. Because remember how Social Security is based on your top 35 years of indexed annual earnings. So, if we look back at the old Social Security website, we know for a fact that your top 35 years of annual index earnings, the earnings you made many moons ago, are worth significantly more now, maybe, than the earnings you make now. So let me give you an example. If you're making $25,000 a year in 1989, just use that for example, that might be the equivalent of $85,000 a year today, if that makes sense, because the indexing that they use based on the average wage index amount. So if you're making, I got dirt on my face. I was out in the garden. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just a shadow. Or maybe it's just my 5 o'clock shadow. So if you're making $65,000 and you're 60 years old, all right, that money will be dwarfed by the $25,000 you made in 1989. Because if you're 60 years old, you're no longer getting AWI, the average wage index. You're not getting indexing earnings anymore. The earnings are, once you hit 60, it's no longer indexed. I mean, you get a cost of living adjustment, but everyone gets that with Social Security benefits. So once you hit 60, you no longer get indexed earnings. So the earnings you made, say 30 years ago are probably, maybe not, maybe, we don't know, might be worth more when you factor in indexing than the earnings you make this year, in the next 4 years, next 5 years, next 6 years. Because there's no indexing once you hit 60. So for this guy to say, the longer you stay in the labor force, the more your Social Security check will be, is simply not true. I mean, it could be true, but it's not it's not correlated. It does say, if I stay in the labor force, I have a bigger Social Security check. No, it does not say that. The Social Security benefits don't work like that. The Social Security benefits are worked on your index annual earnings. And so if I have lower earnings today relative to index earnings I make 20, 30, 10 years ago, working longer doesn't put any more benefit of Social Security on my check. It does not. I hope that makes sense. I got a sneaky suspicion it doesn't, unfortunately. But it will. I've been hitting this hard because it drives you up the wall. All right, so once you have 35 years in, and let's just say your lowest year is $80,000 of indexed earnings, and you're only making $65,000, and you already got 35 years in. So if you're 60, 35 be 25. You've been working since you're 25 years old, and you already got 35 of indexed earnings in, and the lowest year of your indexed earning is $80,000, and now you're only making $60,000. It doesn't make sense to keep working from a Social Security perspective. Now, there are many other things to work, but in terms of getting a bigger Social Security benefit, it does not make sense, because you won't, man. They only give you your benefits based on your top 35 years of indexed earnings. Once you have 35 years, and you're not going to have more benefit of those, none of those benefit years that you have today or in the future will replace your lowest year of indexed earnings. It doesn't make any sense. And as such, don't keep working for your Social Security benefit to increase, because it doesn't matter. Now, I'll tell you what let's see if they posted my comment. I'm not sure if they did or not. I bet they probably did not. Let's see. Hopefully they did. Hey, no, still is waiting moderation. All right. However, bigger financial incentives from Social Security for people who remain in the labor force. This insinuations you must stay working in order to receive a larger Social Security check. Nope, that's simply not correct. It's the delay of when you file for Social Security that brings a larger check, regardless of your employment status, especially if you already have 35 years of labor. So if you want a bigger Social Security check, you delay. That's just a fact. But working extra years doesn't necessarily mean you have a bigger Social Security check. I hope this makes sense. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's a big deal. So you got to, before you stay in the labor force, a crappy old job, having to listen to Robin DeAngelo and the wokesters at Coca-Cola, or freaking, crazy, dates, taking some insane commute where drunk drivers are flying around all over you. Just, man, understand how this works before you stay in your labor force. All right, we'll see you.